Okay. So my introduction, it's like, I mean, this is a BIM automation company, and we generally into the outsourcing. So we outsource the people who knows automation. We don't outsource the people like the BIM candidates or BIM modelers or coordinators. No, we train the candidates and we'll place them in the companies into an IT sector. Because once you become expertised in automation, so your platform will be changed from BIM to BIM IT. So you will be having like a BIM experience, and you will be having some IT experience as well. Okay. So the companies are paying these candidates for their learning, to be frank. Okay. So the people who wants to step their career into automation, but scaring, they have sort of scared like they hate coding from the childhood, or else in the engineering days they have some the bad experience with the coding. So most of the people are not interested to step into this. Okay. And for them, a small clarification, automation or BIM automation is not exactly the way you feel. It's really easy, damn easy. You understand? You can learn yourself as well. But if you have a tutor who guides you in a right way, uh, you will be expert in a less time, in a no time. To be frank, not say less time. Within no time, you can be an expert because the tutor would be knowing that how what to teach exactly, what not to teach. Okay, so always like compare to the self learning. Like if you have been learning from past like 1 year or 2 years and couldn't able to create a script. But if you join a live tutoring, and if you have such an experience, you can do the same task in just like uh, you know 10 to 15 days. So you've been almost like saving a number of years and hours as well. Okay, so there are a few people who texted me like 1 year ago, seriously, and they joined this webinar on a request like uh, they've been asking me many times, like, I would like to see how your training is going to be. So for them, I have invited, because the demos will be always good. I've got many comments like, I liked your demo, but when I'm trying to enroll their name, they're saying they have a bad experiences before, like with other tutors. Okay, so it's the training was not exactly as like the demo. Okay, that's the reason to see the real potential of a tutor. You must invite them to the live training. So that's it. Like we are here today, and I'm having total 7+ years of experience in this automation and in BIM automation, and like coding knowledge and everything. Like I'm having total 18+ years. So don't I know you don't need to doubt on my skills and nothing. Okay, and it's my own company, so I'll never go down with any standards, low down my standards in the training area. Okay, so let's start today. Actually, the first 3 days, it's very very important for me. The first 3 days are very very important for me. The reason, we are going to cover a common topic, one common topic. We are going to cover for 3 days. Generally, in our entire training, we don't have any topic which takes like a 3 days. But the first concept, because I want you to understand how Dynamo is easy, how coding is easy to understand and everything. So, for that sake, the first 3 days, I can complete this training in just 10-15 minutes as well. The same concept, the same concept. I'm taking it for like a 6 hours, more than 6 hours also. Okay. But why? Because you are going to stretch this concept till the end of the training, and you are going to, implement the same strategies after the level one training. So we have different levels. Don't worry. Okay. So in level one, no coding at all. No coding at all. Understand? Okay. So you no need to be panic like, I mean, why should I learn coding if I'm an electrical engineer? So there is no sync with the code and my work. Okay, so it's not like that. We are not going to cover any kind of coding concepts in our training. Understand? Okay, so the first concept, which is called data types. The first concept, which is called data types. What do you mean by data type in the sense? If I want to play with something, for example, um, this is a Dynamo interface. I hope everyone knows it. When I'm playing with a model, for example, if I have a line, let's say I have a line, I have a line here. So I have some lines, 10 lines or 100 lines or 1,000 lines, which I have imported from, AutoCAD, or else someone, I mean, the engineer has drawn some lines on the Revit itself, and you want to convert that into the trays and ducts and taking that line as a reference. So you will be taking this line as a reference, and you have to convert this line into the cable tray. So by giving some offset, you have to draw a duct next to it by leaving some space with 150 mm or 250 mm or 300 mm, depends. So on the same cable tray, I want to create a conduits. For example, I have a duct, I mean, next to the duct, I mean, or down to the duct, I need a pipes, whatever it is. So offset. So offset is a number. So if I want to create a duplicate, so that is again a line. So a line, a number, if I want to control the wall properties, I want to control the height of a wall. I want to change the level of this particular wall. I want to change the cross section from vertical to slanted again. So every like for parameter, it is having like its own values. So I want to change those values. I want to change those values. So from the beginning, from the day one till the end of our training, and after the training, the way where you implement. So everything depends on the values. The value I want to play. I want to play with this value. I want to play with this value. I want to find out the walls which are having like a slanted and with the angle 45 degrees, with angle like 15 degrees. So I want to see such, the walls in my model. How do you do that? Okay. So everything to create a task, to create an action, to play with an action, to extract some information, we need the data. And that data is coming from different types. That is the reason we'll call it as a data types. Understand? So this looks like, and let me show you how many types we have. Someone texted me a question just out of curiosity, which tool you're using this match language. This is Xmind. Xmind. Vishak, can you see the screen now? I hope it's clear to you. Can you?
No, I'm not still able to see the screen.
You are not able to see.
Hello?
Let me share it again.
I think it's my problem.
Can you see the screen now? Just check.
Not yet. I think it's my problem because I think there's a glitch on my
Mm,
side.
okay, do one thing. Join
I
from
just,
mobile
I
as
just,
well.
yeah, it's,
Join from the mobile. It's
Yeah, I just rejoin.
okay. Let go. Okay, so
Yeah,
we
I just
have
rejoin.
okay, great. So we have a different data coming from different forms. Okay, so we will be calling that as a data types, and we the types are in a in a different ways. Let me show you. The first one, it's like a number, and the second one, it is like a text, and the third one, it is like saying yes or no. Okay, I mean, if you have any questions, so the data will nod its head. Yeah, yes, no, 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 yes or no. So yes and no. Okay, and these three are very important. And the dangerous data types are like null. Sorry, it's null. So what do you mean by null in the sense? When you're trying to fetch some information and there is nothing, but still you're trying to fetch it. So while you're playing with this kind of a data types, you must be, you have to pay some attention on this kind of a data type. Okay. So number, text, and SNO. And forget about the null for now. So these are like, a general specific data types. We generally called it as a boundary primitive. So it's a primitive. It's a primitive data type. We have a one more again, like we like as like primitive, we have a one more that's called application specific. So it's keep on changing from application to application. For example, if you're using like a Civil 3D, so Civil 3D have its own data types. If you are playing with Revit have its own data types. Okay, we'll see that later. So for the first 2 days, we are playing with a primitive, and on the third day, we are playing with an application directly. Application specific data types, like how do you play, how do you control, how do you change family types. Okay, I mean, like, I've decided, okay, on the third floor, on a specific, in some specific areas, I want to change the lighting fixtures to something else. So how do I change it? I'm directly playing with the elements instead of playing with the data. Okay. So initially, let me explain what are the primitive data types. Okay. So so why did you mention this like a heart symbol here? It's a completely heart of a concept. If you don't understand this, you can't move further. Seriously. Okay. So when I just want to play with the wall for now. I want to play with this wall. Okay. So the properties I'm having here on, if I break this into the parts, the same the properties palette, I want to break this into the two parts. In the left hand side, we generally call that like a parameter. You are aware of this parameter name and value, parameter values. So values are having the different data types. The values are having like a different data types, but parameter name, it's only one data type, always 100%. It is the one data type because that is a text. Okay. So but here it's keep on changing. If you understand a parameter which is exactly what kind of a data type which is carrying in it. For example, you have three pockets. On shirt you have one pocket, and for on pants like you have two pockets. So you can store like a wallet. You can keep your wallet and on one pocket, and you can keep some like something in a second pocket, and you can you can hold your like specs or something in a third pocket. So every data type is completely different. Every data type is completely different. Okay, which are not exactly the same. So I'm having like a cup. So I can keep a coffee in it. I can put a coffee in it. I can put a money in it. I can put a some alcohol in it. Whatever it is. So whatever you keep, there are different data types considered. Okay. So here the location line is something different, and base constant it's something different, and base offset it's something different. So how do you understand it? How do you understand that? Okay. Just a second. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let me see. For example, if I want to control this, the wall, a wall height, let me change this number to 4,200. So I'm doing it manually. If you want to play with the multiple walls, if you want to convert, multiple walls, so then I'll change like I'll select right click and select all instances. If I want to play with the visible in view, this is called a filter. You don't notice that, but that is called a filter. Even for this kind of a filtering, we will be using the Dynamo and we'll filter whether do you want me to change all the walls in a particular view or in the entire project. We can write a filters. So whatever you exactly doing, everything, these are like a filters. These are like a filters. We'll see that later. Okay. So select all instances visible in view. Now I want to change all this. Now I'm going to play with, uh, multiple walls. Okay. So here when I see the same, earlier it was like a number, but now which is showing it's like a varies. Now that is showing it's like a varies. If a property, it's keep changing. I mean, for example, I'm having like a three different values and the same, the values are not same. So it will be act like a varies. It will be act like a varies. But if the content in the three, the numbers are exactly the same, that it results exactly the same. Okay, so when it comes to the data types, you must understand what it is exactly carrying and whether they are same or not. If it's not same, how do you assign a different? For example, I want to assign a wall one data to this, wall two data to this, wall three data to this. How it will be? So the sequence, you have to change the sequence. So no, I don't want to change the sequence. I want to keep the same value for all the three walls. Let's make it 4,200. So I'll select here and let's say 4,200. Now for this property, for this element, for this element, it's the same data and I could see the data here. You can check that. You can check that, for example, if you're on a wrong work set, you can find it out very easily and the Dynamo will give you a pop-up. You're playing with the cable tree and you're on a duck work set. Do you want me to change? So it's interesting, no? So when you open a script, it's keep on prompting if you changed like any, uh you have placed some elements on the wrong work set, so it will recorrect it. It will reset to the original work sets. Do you understand? You don't need to figure it out like applying the filters and changing the properties of. You don't need to do anything. Okay. So you will be writing some sort of an actions. Simple. To understand every single thing, the data types is a key point for it. Okay. So let me explain. Let's stop giving some examples. Let's start playing. Okay. We have a number, we have a text, we have SNO, and we have a null. What are all this exactly? So when I see, I hope you are aware of like what do you mean by number and what do you mean by text. So number in the sense like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there is another property belongs to the number. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4.5678. So there is a difference between these two. There is a difference. It's the decimal. It's a decimal. In the second property, we have a decimal, and in the first property, we don't have a decimals. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4.5678. So if you have a decimal, we'll call it as a double. So if you don't have a decimal, we'll call it as an integer. We'll call this as an integer. Okay. Now I want you to see the data very clearly, because eye detail is very important. You're not playing with any coding part or nothing, but still to step into the coding level, I want you to be very good in reading the data, whether it is a number or a string. Okay, let me show you some. Let me ask you a question, and you can use a chat box to reply your answers. Okay, so let me select this wall. Now tell me, what is the data type? What is the data type of unconnected height? What is the data type of unconnected height? Not a number. I'm checking. It's not a number. Very clear. Double, double. Mhm. Integer, double. I've told you very clearly. So if you have seen a dot, I mean, the decimal value, see, there is a dot here. If there is a decimal value, then it must be like a double. Then it would be a double. If there is no dot, let's say, um, okay, we don't have any such examples here. Let's say just go and check in the edit type properties. What about the roughness? What about the roughness? What is the data type of the roughness? Hmm? Integer, integer, because it don't have a decimal values. What about the data type of absorbance? Data type of absorbance, sorry, 0.1000. It's a double because it is having like a double. I mean, it is having like a decimal value. So it has dot. So 0.1 000. Okay, cool. What is the data type of width parameter? Width parameter. Again, it is double. Cool. So it's a double. Okay, perfect. So what about length parameter? Length parameter. Length parameter. It's a double again. 7695.2. Now you understand what is like a double and what is an integer. Very simple. So you cleared like 1%. You cleared like 1% out of the entire training. Okay. So you started understanding what is the data type of whether it is a number, I mean whether it is an integer or a double. Don't pronounce it as like a number from now onwards. You have to remember this too, like one is an integer and second one is a double. One is an integer, second one is a double. Integer without decimal values. So double with decimal values. DND, double decimal, DND. So with if you have seen something like with the decimal values, consider it as a double. Okay. So let me see. If I enter let's say mark value, I want to assign mark values. Okay, I want to assign a mark value for this, like wall 1, wall 2, because I'm having like a number of walls. So I want to name every single wall. I'm doing it manually. Most of the guys are doing the same for assigning the values manually for lighting fixtures like fire alarm devices or heat detectors or smoke detectors. They'll just give manual entry. Okay, so now just tell me, what is the parameter type? What is the parameter type of this? The mark parameter. What is the data type of this mark parameter? Hmm? Integer, 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 right? Okay. So here most of you guys got confused. If you have seen a number in a different and a parameter, you guys decide, okay, it is an integer. I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm just giving you the clarity. So if you have seen a value, which is a value in a parameter, you should not take that as you can't count it as a integer. You can't consider it as a the double or a text or whatever. Okay, so it could be anything. There are some different kind of a data types which accepts even the integers, double, and the text also. Okay, fine, let me show you. So what is the storage type of this location line? What is the data type of this location line? Text. Text in the sense, let's say my name like Kumar, let's say Kumar or Bimera. Okay, so Bimera and Bangalore. Okay, or else let's say this kind of stuff, the text. Okay, so the Kumar, Bimera, Bangalore, the text. Okay, and special characters, like a text with a special characters like Bimera 1 2 3 4, Bimera 1 2 3 4. This is having even text, I mean alpha numeric. So alphabets can be stored and the the number is also there. So when I see any text like yeah, the level one, let me copy level one. Okay, because it's an alphanumeric. So alphanumeric can be called as a text, but I don't want you call this as a text anymore. Call this as a string. Call this as a strings. Control V. These are string. So don't pronounce it as a number or as a text. Just call it either as an integer or a double or a string. Make this a habit. In 1 or 2 days, I want you to be very make it as a habit for this. Uh, you know uh, the pronouncing. Okay. So integer double string. Integer double string. Okay. So what is the data type of this location line? Tell me. What is the data type of this location line? String. Good. So what is the data type of the space constraint? String again. What about top constraint? Top constraint. Huh? String again, huh? Okay, good. Cross section. Cross section. String again. Good. So what about comments? Comments. We have numbers only. We don't have any text in this. Hmm? We don't have text anywhere. Double, huh? Okay, but we don't have any decimals here, no? We don't have any decimals. How come we can consider it as a double? We have a special characters, we have a numbers. Okay, I have a doubt here. Let's see. Even I'm having a doubt. Okay, so let's see that later. So mark integer, very good. Works at 1. So we have an alpha numeric. So let's consider that as a string. Okay, so now you understand what is what is an integer, what is a double, and what is a string. If I started showing you something like, what is, how do you understand? I mean, how do you play with this? And once you started seeing the warnings, you will realize that this is not an integer, this is not a double, and that is not a string. The value which exactly looks like a string, but it is not a string. Let me give you an explanation very clearly. So top constraint is not a string. Unconnected height, it is a double. Good. So location line, this is not a string. This is also not a string. Even this is also not a string. It looks like a text. The face is different, but the backend is, see, we have two things here, the front end and back end. So the front end looks very easy to understand. But if you don't understand the back end, you can't play with the front end. Do you understand? Because this is common with the developers. You should understand what is behind something. Okay, so how do I know that, Rajesh? Can you give me an explanation? That we are going to cover in a 3 days training. Don't worry. Okay, so on the third day, I'm going to reveal. No, not third day. On second day, maybe tomorrow, I'm going to cover like how do you understand the original data type of it. So today we just covered like what are the data types and where we exactly use these data types. Let me show you. Let me give you some examples where we use these data types. Okay, where we use exactly, where we use. Okay, so the first one, for example, if I want to adjust a room temperature, adjusting a room temperatures, tell me what would be the data type. I want to control a room temperature. What would be the data type? Very good. Very good. Double. Okay. I want to rename the floors. I want to just listen to my questions very clearly. Renaming the floors with some prefix. Renaming a floor with a prefix. Very good. Renaming floors with some prefix. Very good. It is a string. Superb. So I want to counting down some windows on a facade. I want to count a windows on a facade. Very good. Very good. Counting windows on a facade. Hmm? Facade. Why it is not a double? Why you were saying it's integer? Because we can't count the windows like 1.3, 1.5, 1.7 like that. So it would be like a unique number, whole number, correct? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay. So for 20, 30, 50 like that. Okay. Very good. So that is integer. You started seeing the difference. Okay. So identifying doors whether oh, now there is a one more. So this is called SR. No, we generally call this as a booleans. We'll call it as a boolean. So boolean in the sense like SR no. Okay, SR no, true or false, true or false, and check or uncheck, check or uncheck, and on and off. Okay, so there's a 1 and 0. You will be knowing this later. But now try to understand yes or no, true or false, check or uncheck, on and off. So everything, like we have only two options, either this or that, either this or that. We don't have a third option. So we will be calling them as a booleans. Booleans. Okay. So let me remove this 1 and 0 for the timing. I don't want to confuse you. So yes or no, true or false? Yes, it's true. No, 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 it's false. So check. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Check in the sense like checkbox, not check or uncheck. It's like a checkbox. Like say, yeah, binary. Right. So when I select this, do you see that? What is the data type of this room bounding? What is the data type of room bounding? Boolean. Correct. So what is the data type of base is attached? Base is attached. It's a boolean again. Correct. What about the structural? What about the structural? Boolean again. Good. So we have, I mean, we can see only the checkbox, and somewhere we can see the drop downs with only two values. You can see somewhere with only, only the two values we have in the drop down. So you can consider that as a booleans as well. Yeah, even you have a list of values, but if you're, I mean, list in the sense we'll be having more than two values. If you have more than two values, we can't consider that as a boolean. We can do. Okay. So yeah, even though it is a list, it must have two values to play with. Okay. So now you are clear on this part. You're clear on this part. Now let me give you. Yeah, is it here? Okay. So Kartik, now I want to identify what was the example? Yeah, identifying the doors whether openable for wheelchair access or not. Identifying the doors openable for wheelchair access or not. What is the data type for it? I'm just cross-checking. Boolean. Correct. So identifying the doors is openable or not. Openable or not. So this is a Boolean. This is a Boolean. Okay. Now let me give you some other example. Um, okay. Let's go beyond. I want to switching view templates based on a view name. I want to switch a view template based on the view name. If I'm playing with an electrical, if I'm in an electrical view, the electrical view template have to be applied. What would be the data type? Now, for example, I'm here, no? So where is this view template? I want to change this view template to something here. So what is this storage type? String. Very good. So that is string. Like if I want to play with switching view templates based on view name. So if I want to change it, then we will be is like a string. Calculating the total length of the wall or the ducts or the railings, then calculating total a calculating the total length of very good a wall or a duct or trim. We don't get a whole numbers there. We'll be having some differentiation there, correct? So that would be like a double. It's not exactly the same as like 1, 2, 3 meter, 4 meter, 6 meter, 600 meter. No, like 600 meters with a point, not something would be there. So that would be a double. Okay. So now you started understanding like how, like where we generally play with. Okay. So this, and not only these data types, we have geometrical data types as well. We have a geometrical data types. I'm not going to and I'm not going to take it more deeper into the geometry for now, since it's a very new concept, but I want you to understand the data types. So from now, like 979, it's 97 now. So 97 to 910, don't take it in your mind. Okay, so the example that I'm going to show you, don't store it in your mind. Okay, you don't need to consider, because I don't want to scare you, but I want to explain there are some other data types related to the geometry. So these are project related for the time being. There are few more to the project related. Okay, so we generally call it as an elements and element ideas. For example, let's say I have let's say I have a road, let's say DL, let's say I have a DL, not DL, not in the sense like a driving license, huh? So I have a detail line. So I'm having like a DL, like a detail line. Okay. So I want to consider this as a reference and draw a tunnel or draw a road. Let's say copy. I just want to take a copy and copy that here. Copy that here. And with some 6 feet or 10 feet or, I'm sorry, like with 10 feet or 20 feet or 40 feet or 80 feet. So I want to create a road, but I don't have any other inputs except this. I, I want to take this as a reference and I want to create a duplicate. So to create a duplicate, I need to know what kind of a data type it is. So the data type is a curve. So curve is a data type again. Okay. So now I'm having like a curve. I want to create, I want to place the lighting poles, the lighting poles with 2 meter distance or with 4 meter distance. So to place that, what do I need generally? Tell me. Elements on correct. So I want to place some in the geometrical perspective. In the geometric perspective, I'm having a curve. This is the path, and I want to place one pole here. I want to place one another pole here, another pole here, and another pole here. So I'm having another pole. I have another pole, and I have another pole here. So what should I need to exactly, achieve my output? Still, you didn't get that? Points. This is a point. XYZ point. XYZ point. XYZ. 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 XYZ points. Correct. So we need a points. So To create a points, we are using this curve as a reference and we create the points. We'll create a point. Okay, how do we take this as a reference? Okay, I'm having already points. So if you are a Civil 3D user and you're getting some data from a Civil 3D Excel document, so you can import that Excel document and convert that into a geometry again in Revit. So how do you do that? So it's like a vice versa. So if you can able to extract some points information from a curve, you can create a curve from the same external information points. What can be done in a reverse engineering? This order or in the reverse order. Okay, it can be done. So after placing these elements, I want to do some rotation as well. So the way how this is exactly rotating, the direction of the the lighting head must be exactly the same. Must be exactly onto the same vertical, the same direction. Okay. So for that, we will be playing with the vectors. We're playing with the vectors. So there are many data types. For the time being, we are going to learn only with the data types integer, double, and string, and the boolean. Okay. Now, let me show you how we are going to play with these data types. I mean, not this. Let me remove all this. Let me remove this. I think I've shown these examples in our demo. I mean, in our one and a half hour demo. I mean, this is a training. No, this is not a demo. So let me show you all this data types and how do we read it. And let's start playing with those data types. Okay. So I'll just open my Dynamo. This is my Dynamo. Let me close this. And I have this Dynamo in the manage tab inside the ribbon, the visual programming panel. I have two things, Dynamo and the Dynamo player. Don't open the player. So there is a concept to convert a script into the player, a script to a player. I mean, it's for the non-Dynamo users. I mean, this is for the non-Dynamo users. This is for the Dynamo users. Okay. So when I just click on it, I can see a interface like this. I'm going to explain what is this interface, like what are the things in it, what is this discussion forum, each and every single thing on an interface later. I mean, on the welcome screen later. Okay. So when I just click on new, uh, don't scare. Like I'm having too many blocks here. Like we generally called as a packages or add-ons or something. So I have installed it on my on doing some sort of research whether it helps me, the packages which help me or not. I mean, if I'm I have a task to automate something which related to the architecture, so I need an architectural add-ons. I install those. So I have a project for mechanical, so I need a mechanical add-ons, mechanical packages. So install those. So installing, keep on installing. I want to play with, I have another freelancing work with, the documentation to automate all, the tags are not in a proper place. I want to automate everything in just one single click. And there should not be any, overlapping again to avoid all this. So I have written a script. I have to write a script. To write a script, we need the documentation related, the tagging related add-ons. So I have installed it. So how do you coming to know that which add-on relates to the documentation, which add-on relates to the mechanical, which add-on relates to play with like a rebar or a reinforcement or what exactly? So that we'll see in our coming sessions. Okay, fine. So this is my node library. This is my node library, and if I mean you can see that it's a library. If you just click on that, you will see the library, and you can start finding something here. You can start finding something here. It's called node library. Node, N-O-D, node. So node in the sense. So general info. You need packages. You need add-ons or packages to play. But yeah, of course, you have to install it. And second one, uh, node. We're just going to play with the nodes. What do you mean by node? no code, no code, because you're not going to code something. You're not going to code anything, but still you want to enjoy the coding experience. Someone has written a code for you, so you want to play with it. You have to call it. So to call that, they have stored with the different names on their own convenience. If a guy who is bad in English, so you have to struggle finding a node. If a guy who is very good in English, so I mean you can easily find uh, the nodes. Okay, so I'm just kidding. It's not like good or bad in the English. I'm just trying to convey you something. Okay, so how do I search that? For example, I want to, there are two common nodes. There are two common nodes which we are going to play with the data types. We generally call it as a twin nodes. The first one is like get parameter value by name. Get parameter value by name. Because you know why I drag this into the canvas? For drag this into the canvas, I want to check I'm going to connect you the element. I'm going to give you element and I'm going to connect you the parameter name. So what you have to do exactly? So when I connect, see the one what we're playing with here, it's clearly written in the beginning. So I am going to play with the element and I want you to do this action. I'm having an element and I want to do this. If I want to play with the points, then I'm going to play with the point and I want you to do this point by coordinates. So by coordinates is an action. So I'm telling that to do this and I'm going to play with this. So there are two things, the common things you must notice on a node, which is like the two areas. The first one is what you're going to play with. What are you going to play with? I'm going to play with a point. I'm going to play with a wall. I'm going to play with a work set. I'm going to play with a sheet. I'm going to play with a wall. So the first one comes in the beginning before the dot. So after the dot, action. It's like a subject. What do you want me to do with it? I know you have a point. So what do you want me to do with that? So do this. Okay. So do this. I want to delete this, the particular points. I want you to move these points. Do you understand? I want you to add the point, the Z value or X value or Y value to something. Do you understand? So action, set of action. So this is an action part. This is an action part and this is an element part. This is an element part. In our general terms, we'll call it as in a different way. Object and subject. Okay. I don't want to explain that in the day one up to that extent. So try to understand. I'm having like an element and I want you to get parameter value. I want to get the parameter value. Okay, but how? By parameter name. I'm going to connect. So if I've seen the three different things, I'm having an element here. So I'm going to connect in this element. I have a parameter name. I'm going to connect your parameter name. So can you please get the parameter value out of it? Can you please get the parameter value if I connect the parameter name and connect element to you? Is it? Ah, sure, I'll do that. So that's what and the internal functions have written. Okay. So the first one it is expecting an element. So don't you know don't try to understand more deeper. It's like very simple. So what it is exactly expecting. So you should know how to ask that. You should know how to ask it. Very simple. Okay. Select model element. Select model element. Okay, let me just click on select. This is a button. So when I just click on button, it will, see the rivet. The properties palette got grayed out. So I don't have any controls to play with anything here. So let me select an elements. Let me select one element. Let's say I'll use this duct. I'll select this duct. Selected. Now the properties palette come back again to its original state. Okay, so it was in a freeze freeze state before, but now it was active again. Okay, if I come back, what it is exactly saying, yeah, you have selected a duct, man. Very good, I have selected it. So now when I connect this element to the element, and the second thing you have to very you have to understand very clearly the connections. Okay, so on every node we have a two parts again. So the first two parts, it is like an element and the action. Let me note it down here. General info. We have we have two parts. Two parts on every node. So the first one is element dot action. At the same time, again we have control C, control V. The next one, which is like input and output. Input and output. So I want to cut this into the two parts. I want to cut this into the two parts. So cut this and cut this into the two parts. The left hand side will call it as an input and right hand side will call it as an output. Inputs and output. So the output of the first node must exactly match with the input of the second node. Output of the first node must match with the input of the second node. Output of the second node must match exactly with input of the third node. Input of the third node should exactly match. Do you understand? So this is another ground rule. You must make this as a, you have to by heart it. If you can't digest it, you have to by heart it. Generally, you don't need to by heart. This is very simple. Output should exactly match with an input, with the connecting inputs. I mean connecting nodes. The connecting nodes. As simple. Okay. Now this is expecting an element. So I have connected an element. So next time this is expecting a parameter name. Let me check parameter name. Parameter name. So parameter name, I don't have anything as a parameter name. But this is expecting an element, so I connect an element to it. But on the second one, that is saying like a parameter name, but I don't have any nodes with the name of parameter name or anything. So parameter dot name, but I don't know how to connect this to this. Very simple. In such cases, if you can't understand exactly the parameter name, hover the cursor on it. Hover the cursor on it. On every node, you will be having at least one. There are common hints, like three different hints. There are three common hints. It must be there, but it's not exactly the same. You can find the three hints on every node. Sometimes you may see two, sometimes you may see one, sometimes you may not see even nothing. So if you don't see anything, you will be having some sort of a challenge to understand what it is exactly expecting. What should I connect? So how should I connect this? So you will be wasting a lot of time there itself, because finding the node is different and connecting something what it is exactly expecting, it's very different. While you're on a road, you are like, you have to impress someone. You are a sales guy, you have to impress someone. So if you want to talk to a person, you should go into his perspective and then only you can sell a product. So I mean, you want to impress a kids like in a mall or somewhere, so you have to be act like a kid. Do you understand? So while you're trying to connect something, you must try to understand what it is really expecting. So in this case, how do I change myself, Rajesh? So it is expecting something. Uh, it is expecting something, but I don't know what it is expecting. Like, how do I connect that? So when you hover the cursor on it, just very simple. It's very simple. When I hover the cursor on it, it is showing. Yeah, luckily we are having two different hints here. Hint. So generally there must be three hints. We don't see more than three hints. More than three hints. It's constant. Three hints is a constant. Okay. So out of three, at least if you have one, you can survive. You can you will you're gonna clear that if you understand what it is expecting. But here in our case, we're having two. The first one, the name of the parameter whose value you want to obtain. So it's trying to explain you in a sentence. But if you're very bad in reading and you don't understand the technical terms of the text, then you have another option. Going with the second one, it's saying string. Oh my goodness, so it's expecting a string. So let's type a string. Very simple. So place it. That's it. Halfway done. Now the second challenge, halfway done. But what about the rest of the 50%? You're on the track, but what to connect exactly? Parameter name. Okay, fine. So you are asking parameter name, no? For this duct, I've selected this duct, right? So for this duct, let me choose one parameter. I'll pick initially I'll play with an upper and top elevation. 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 So when I connect this to this, it's supposed to print 2735, but it's not printing anything. Why? It must print, right? But why it isn't printing? Hmm? Exact text, huh? So you want me to connect the exact text, is it? So what do you mean by exact text? Exact text, upper end. Okay, there is a space. Okay, cool. Still, it is not returning the output. Space after top. Okay, but still, top elevation. Top elevation. But still, it's same, no? I can't see the output. Can you help me out here? Exact formatting. Case. Which case? Suitcase. Which case? Capital letter? You didn't. Ah, okay, but okay, you want me to change upper case, huh? So upper capital U and capital E. Okay, capital E and capital T and capital E. Cool. Yeah. Now I got the value. Okay. So 2735. 2735. So the challenge is how do you exactly connect to it? So this is a case sensitive. It's a matter of case sensitive. So whatever if the parameter, exactly what is the parameter name, you have to exactly connect the same to it. Okay. Okay. So 2735. That's perfect now. So if I change this to the middle elevation, my DDLV, middle elevation, 2560. So it's exactly printing. It's exactly printing the same as like what it is written. But why it isn't here? We have it. What is the storage type of this? What is the data type of this 2560? Integer or a double? Integer or a double? Integer. But here it is 2560. It's a double. You told me that it's a double. But here I don't have a decimal values. So which is the right correct data type? Which one I should consider? Which one I should consider? Either which is written in the Revit or which is extracted from the Dynamo. Huh? Which one I should consider? Revit one or Dynamo one? Revit, huh? Revit. But we are playing with the Dynamo, right? But we are playing with the Dynamo. Why should I consider the Revit one? Hmm? But still, you have to consider the Revit one only. Okay. Don't get confused. It's very simple logic. Okay. So who is creating a parameter? Who will be creating a parameter? You. You or your manager or your coordinator, someone. Correct? So while creating the parameters, so the person who is going to be decide whether it is an integer type, whether it is a double or whether it is a boolean or whether it is a text. Okay, so let me create the parameters for our understanding. Okay, let me show you how it is exactly. Just go to the manage and project parameters. Project parameters. Okay, when I create a new parameter, so the name parameter name. Okay, let's say param underscore param underscore discipline. Okay, let it be as the common, I mean, as a same data type. See, I think you haven't noticed this before. Like there is a, the coding terminology, which is on the Revit interface. It's data type. The same we are following now. Okay. So the data type. So text, integer. Where is double? We don't have a double. Rajesh, you told me integer. That's fine. You have explained me that string, but instead of a string, I can see the text. So I can consider this text as a string. Okay, that's fine. But where is the double here? But you see, we have even yes or no as well. We have yes or no also. And where is the double here? See, there is a number. Rajesh, why there is a number again? Why there is an integer again? So the number will be considered as a double. Okay, let me create 4 different parameters and see how it exactly works. Okay, so let me create a integer first. Okay, param integer, under identity data. Under identity data, let me select for everything and let's say click OK. Now let me create one more parameter. This time param underscore double under common data type, that's going to be a number because it's a double, no, and under identity data. So select everything for all the categories and it is an instance parameter again. So create one more param underscore. This time it is a string, no? Yeah, it is a string. I'll use the same coding terminology and that data type is a text and under identity data, check everything and it's an instance parameter. Okay, perfect. Let me just create a one more final one, param underscore boolean, and that is yes or no, and under identity data for all the categories, let's click OK and click OK. Now I want to play with this data types. Okay, before we play with, see, when I select the deck, what happen? I can see all the parameters. I can see all the parameters, param boolean, param double, param integer, param string, and everything here. Okay, before we step into the Revit parameter properties, okay, Revit, I mean, let's, instead of, I mean, directly playing with this, let me show you how exactly this data type works exactly. Okay, so when this is a boolean, see, yes or no, only enable and disable that check mark and uncheck that. This is a true and this is a false. If it unchecked, it's a false. So if it is a checked, it's a true. So yes, no, on, off, true, false, check, uncheck, yes or no. Very clear. Now that's fine. So parameter double. So parameter double now. Let me play with the boolean. Can you please get me what is there in the boolean? Param underscore boolean, exactly the same. Oh, it's showing me one exactly. It's showing me one. Why it's supposed to show like a true or false, but why it's showing like one here? That is the reason I mentioned. If it is like a true part, if it is a true part, it will be one. And if it is a false part, it will be like a zero. Zero in the sense nothing, it's not there. And there is nothing. Okay, if I change this, if I change the value, I mean, if I uncheck that, what happens? It will show zero. it will show you as a 0. See, it will show you it as a 0. Okay, cool. Now, let me play with the double now. When I enter 1, 2, 3, 4, it is adding the decimal values by default. It's adding the decimal values by itself. Okay, now let me play with, the Dynamo double. It's printing 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, but that's fine. But still, that is a double data type. So you have to consider the Revit one, not the Dynamo one. Okay. So what if I change this value uh, to 567890, 567890. It's printing, it's like 1234.567890. 0 is eliminating the 9. Okay. So because of this, there is a decimal value which is printing exactly. So it will exclude, yeah, correct. It will excludes the value, I mean, after the dots, if all are like a zeros. Okay, clear. So now, what if integer? I want to play with an integer now. 1234.567890. When I hit enter, it's giving me a pop-up. Enter an integer. I hope you have seen this before and many times while you're playing with any parameters. I hope everyone would see this, but you don't notice that there is a coding terminology which is popping out saying it's an integer. So integer in the sense enter an integer. So you don't know what is an integer exactly. So integer, yes. So integer. So you have to enter an integer only. Okay, okay, that's fine. But let me enter 1234.000000. It is accepting now. So the one, even though I entered with the dot, I mean the decimal value with the 0000s, it is accepting it. Even though if I enter it, it is accepting that because it will be considered, it will be round off that and it will give you the final value. What if I change this the double 000001? Okay. Now if I ask the double, see it's printing exactly the same. It's printing exactly the same, but it won't happen exactly with an integer because it will not allow you anymore. If you're trying to enter a decimal value in the integer parameter, no, you cannot. I'll show you how to play with in the Dynamo as well. Okay. So we are trying to extract the information now. Let's see how to set a value to a non, to the different data types. Okay. In a couple of minutes. So clear. I'm clear. So what about the parameter string? Now, if I say, can you please get the integer? It will always give you, even it won't show you the dots anymore. Okay, even though if you enter like dot 00000, no, it will not show you. It will always show you a whole number, the direct number. Okay, so when it comes to the string, can I store something, text in this to, let's say I'll type Bimera here, enter a value or a formula starting with equal to something. So I don't understand anything here. It is saying that enter a value. I entered the value only. Bimmer is a value, but why it is saying like enter a value or a formula equal to, starting with equal to and put a dot. There's a dot. What is this? Equal to. What is that equal to? I'll explain that later. So it's not accepting. Let's see whether integer will accept a numbers. I'm sorry, a text. Bimmer, please accept. Please accept. See, still it's saying the same thing. So a integer or a double will not allow you to enter any other, any other data type in it. Any other data type in it, like a string or element or a wall or a curve or a point. No, it will not allow any such data types into another data type. Okay. Not only this, any other. For example, if there is um, a parameter which stores like which is having a curve. So when you're trying to enter a string in it, no, it won't accept. It will not accept that. Okay. So parameter dot string, parameter dot string. Let me type parameter underscore string. Now there is nothing, so it's not printing anything. This time if I type bim error, yeah, it's printing. It has printed like a bim error. Okay, fine. What if I type 1 2 3 4? It's 1 2 3 4. Very good. Because I think it is accepting the numbers as well. What if I enter 1 2 3 4.56789? Same. It is accepting everything. Okay, what if I type bim error 1 2 3 4? So the text can accept a string. This parameter underscore string. The string can accept even the alphabetic and the numeric as well. Okay, both. What about the special characters? Even the special characters also will be considered like hyphen or at the rate something at 15678 or any special characters or anything. If you just hit enter, I can see the same exactly here. Okay, so the string can store anything in it. Whatever you pour, it won't object anymore. So it's keep on giving you what you have connected. Exactly what it was there, it will print exactly the same. Okay, so it will allow you to store whatever you want in it. Okay, but not exactly like another data types. Like you can't store a point in a string. You cannot connect a point, you cannot connect a level, you cannot connect something to string again. Now you have seen like how do you read it, but let me show you how do you play with it. I want to set some values to the respective parameters. Okay, so I told you there are two different nodes, like what do you say, twin nodes. Okay, so the one is a get parameter value by, actually it's not a parameter name, it's not a get parameter value by parameter name, it's a element get parameter value by name. So for your understanding, I just added a parameter here, simple. So set parameter by name. So I have an element. Can you please set the parameter value by parameter name? So if you can read it clearly, even though if the text is missing, but if you can read it by yourself, that would be good. You will be experience that in a very less time. Don't worry. Okay, it will be very easy to understand as well. I mean, to understand based on the inputs, you can read the node names. Seriously, you can see them in exactly. Don't consider the same node name what you have here. So you will be started reading the node name the way you like, based on the uh, inputs. You have to understand the inputs, and once you understand the inputs, you can read the node. Okay, fine. So this is expecting an element. So anyways, I'm not going to play with this node now. This node now. So I've disconnected the connections. Of course, I can use the same connections again and again. For example, I have taken here and I can connect I can take number of connections from the same. I can take an n number of connections from the same again. But still, I don't want to do that. I don't want to confuse you. So it is expecting an element. So I have connected an element to this. And now I want to set, I mean, the duct is already selected here. And this is a parameter name. To the parameter integer, to the parameter underscore integer. The first one is a boolean. No, let me play with a boolean. To play with the boolean, let me connect. I'm going to connect the parameter value. But what about the value? When I hover the cursor on this, it is saying that the value in the second line VR in the sense varies. It is not a variable. It's saying it's a varies. It's keep on changing, depends upon the parameter you connect. Okay, so VR in the sense varies. Let me add that here. In the sense, the data type may vary. Understand? Okay, so I have a boolean when I hover the cursor. So this you'll be coming to know later. We have a separate node, like to play with the numbers, we have a separate. So to play with the booleans, we have a separate nodes. So true or false, we have only two options now. So if I want to enable this, I have to set to the true and connect this to this. So param underscore boolean, say it's enabled. When I just click on uncheck to the, when I set it to the false, it's unchecked now. So see that, read it here, read that here. It's checked. And unchecked. Unchecked. Okay, if it is a boolean, Rajesh, why it has shown like a number? Why it has shown a number? Like why it was like 1 and 0? Very simple. I will be playing with a number as well. For booleans, you have an advantage to control with a number. So 0, it is already 0. Let me set it to 1 and connect this to this. See, it's enabled now. If I make it 0, it is disabled. Very clear. Okay, so for booleans I can play with this stuff. I hope you're clear. Okay, now is this clear, everyone? Guys, is this clear, everyone? Is this clear, everyone, so far? Is this clear? Okay, cool, good. So let me play with the second parameter, okay, which is like param underscore double. Let me play with parameter double. Okay, so parameter double. So it's set to the 0. I have set a number here. There's a default number, it's like a 0. But I haven't added any decimal values, nothing to it. But it is added by default. If I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See 1, 2, 3, 4.5678. Here it shows it's like a 1235. But here it is showing it's like a 1234.56780. In the Dynamo, we have a setting to control this. In the Dynamo preferences. Okay, let me add that for you. Visual settings, display settings. Not here. In general, number format, let me add 4 decimals and let me close this. Okay, now if I copy and paste this, because it needs a refresh. Generally, Dynamo nodes need some sort of a refresh. Okay, so now when I copy and paste that, now it's showing the actual value I have written in it, 1, 2, 3, 4.5678. Okay, so when I connect this to this, it exactly prints the same. So if I don't add anything, like it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, now it will set it to the 1, 2, 3, 4 point zeros, the decimal values. Okay, so this is like a param double. So when I'm trying to enter a number like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever the number it is, even you are entering an integer, it is converting that into the double. It's converting that into the double. Okay, so that is its thing. Okay, it's a rivets thing. Okay, now what if I want to play with integer now? What if I want to play with integer? Integer, correct? I caps. Okay. So when I type 1, 2, 3, 4.56789, and when I connect this to this, What happened? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that set? I can see 1234 only, but I can't see the value 1234.5679. Is it? Okay, fine. Let me change this number 9999.99999 something. Is that going to be round off? Round off, but it's trying to load onto it. Here it has changed automatically to the 10,000, but here it's not. It's still showing it's like a 9,999 only. So there will be a conflict on understanding while you're playing with the code. Okay, so this is like you have to understand. Well, sometimes while I'm trying to I have written something like a condition. So the ducks which are bigger than 8,000. So there is a duck which is bigger than, which is exactly equal to the 8,000, but you can't get that into the list. I'll show you that example later. You will be facing some sort of a challenges in such cases. Very minor one. So it works with a 7,999. It works with 8,001 as well. But if you're exactly looking for something, then you will be having some sort of a challenge. Then in that case, we will be using like greater than or equal to symbol. Okay, if you have a number, and you want to cross check with that, you will be knowing this later. I don't want to confuse you now. Okay, so for the time being, ignore it. Okay, so what about the parameter string now? Let me connect a string to this. Huh? Let me try to connect a string. I didn't try that with the previous nodes. String to the integer. When I'm trying to connect a BIM array to this, it's giving me the warning. Cool. What is the warning? Love the warnings. If you start loving the warning, then you will be expecting very less time because you are able to understand the warnings. If you understand the warning, then it will be really good. Okay. So when I hover the cursor on this element.set parameter by name operation failed. Element.set parameter by name operation failed. The parameter storage type is not a string. The parameter storage type is not a string. Okay. So what is that then? It's not telling that. It's giving you 50% hint. Array idiot, you have connected something, but you have connected something that is a string, but you're supposed to connect something to it. It is not a string. The parameter name, it is expecting something. It is not a string. It's giving you only 50% information. What about the 50%? So it should tell us, no, array idiot, you have to connect the integer. But why did you connect a string to it? So if it's telling it very clearly, so you become an expert in a very less time. You don't even join my training as well. You understand? Because you would be able to understand very quickly. Okay, that is saying it's an integer. So we have connected a string. So for that reason you are here. If it's giving you information, the direct information, then you won't come and join my training. Okay. So this is what 90% the people who are very new to the Dynamo, they got stuck at this warning, and I'm sure you understand. You clear now? So 90%, it's not like 10%, 20%, 90%, the people don't understand the data types. That is the reason I have given the complete the credit to the data types concept. Why? Because the people are failing themselves understanding the data types, nothing else. Rest of them, like, we have a key concepts. They are very important key concept, but not very important than the data types. They're almost equal to it, but compared to it, the rest of the concept I would finish like every day for 2 hours. We have 15 to 20 key concepts. So the first concept itself, it is taking like a 3 days, and the rest of the key concepts are going to be taken on a day wise. So tomorrow, one concept, And I'm not gonna discuss the same topic again in any other day. That's the way the training would be. Understand? Okay. So if I explain a concept today, there will be no related information will be explained in some other days. Understand? So the third day, another another concept. Fourth day, another concept. Fifth day, another concept. So that's keep on changing. So if you have missed like the fourth day and fifth day, you can come and happily attend the sixth day, because there is no interlink between the fourth and fifth day with the sixth days training. So you no need to be panic. Understand? So no, Hare Baba, I haven't tested, I haven't attended yesterday's concept. Should I able to understand today's concept? So if you have something in mind, take that out. The concept, we have a different concepts. I'm gonna text everyone, like I'm gonna text you. So what is that concept? And the same concept we're not going to discuss anymore. And you will never ask me any questions on the data type for sure. I'm sorry, on that concept for sure in coming sessions. You will be asking a lot of questions, the topics we haven't covered. So once the topic is finished, you will never ask me again, and I'm pretty sure. Trust me. Understand? Okay. So let's play with the other data type now. It's a param string. So we have 5 more minutes. So after the 5 minutes, we are going to see how do we learn something with the ChatGPT. So this is the beauty of this course. We don't have this training in the previous sessions. So we have implemented like halfway in the previous training, but now in this training, it's a pure, completely like a ChatGPT. Okay, so you can ask ChatGPT something, and I'm gonna give you some prompts, and I'll help you creating your own ChatGPT, and we are creating a platform for it. It's called Monkey Team. But it's a paid platform. Okay, it's not a free. I'm going to show you the difference between like 3.5 ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4. So there are what? Okay, so simply seems like we are going to cover a prompt engineering concept in our training. This is not only for the Dynamo. Once you're done with the level 1 training, you are going to implement the same ChatGPT strategies and the next level learning as well. So if I say like today we are going to cover this topic, you can do the research by your own on ChatGPT and comment, sit and enjoy that. So I do really suggest that. I mean, I'll share you the prompts. So just copy the prompt and paste it in ChatGPT and get some idea. Because if you have some idea, you will never looks like with a blank face, because you have already got some info. So I don't want you to sit and come with a blank face. If you sit with a blank face, anyways, I'm going to cover you that. But if you want, I want your attention in the training. So this is because, the companies are more smarter nowadays. Do you understand? I want this training must be the interactive. So I want you to interact. How do you interact? You should know that concept at least like a 5 to 10%. Anyways, I'm going to give you the complete information about it, 100%. But if you come with like a 5 to 10% or 20% or 30%, then it is called as an interactive training, not the way you commence it and with a blank faces and I teach you. So this is not the way it called as an interactive trainings. Do you understand? Okay. So for that sake, we are covering, this training is going to be like I'm gonna give you some prompts. You just open. It will take maximum like 5 minutes to do that R&D to understand. Okay, Rajesh is going to explain this to this. Okay, I'm done. Come and sit. Simple. So when I cover the same concepts, taking the same ChatGPT reference as a reference in front of you, why should I take the ChatGPT reference? Don't you have a presentation, Rajesh? Yes, I have. But the way we take that as a points, like mind mapping, like this mind mapping, it will directly um, directly store in your mind. If I explain the same thing with a without a presentation, without writing some points, no, that won't store in your, you will forget it very easily. I mean, if I ask you what did we cover yesterday, you don't remember anything. But if you have this kind of things, I mean, like mind mapping tool, okay, yeah, Rajesh told me like where we can use, okay, to play with this, the data type is that. Okay, fine. So there are two more, we have a different data types like a string, number, and Boolean. So Booleans are in the sense yes or no, true or false. So everything can be, remember it just like that. Understand? Okay. So let me play with, a param string, and then let's jump into the, since we don't, I mean, this is the first day, I don't think so you will be having any questions. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to confuse you a lot, and at the same time I'm going to give you a clarity why and what and how you have to play. So WWH, simple. Okay, so string, okay. So let me connect Bimera to this. Yeah, that's Bimera. Okay, so 1 2 3 4. Okay, 1 to 4. Let's set the value. Okay, let me add special characters. Very good. What if I connect a number to this? Now this is giving me the warning. Hey, even if I enter like 1 2 3 4, I just entered like 1 2 3 4 and connect this to this. It is accepting the number. Rajesh told me that string can accept a numbers, but when I'm connecting like a 10,000 to it, it's saying that the parameter storage type is not a number. But I connected the same number and connected this to the value, it has accepted, but not in this. What is the difference, Rajesh? The way you communicate with. Generally, if a person who is having like a, you are an electrical guy and you are talking to a mechanical coordinator, but you know only the very basic principles of mechanical stuff. You don't understand the design set of information, but when you're trying to explain something, he can't able to digest it, he can't able to understand that. But a mechanical guy can exactly explain what is the scenario. So the way you communicate, so you must communicate. If the parameter string, it is expecting a string, so you have to connect the data, the same data. Even I'm also entering the same 1 2 3 4 only, but the way I'm communicating, it's a channel is different. So this channel is different and this channel is different. So this channel is a string, so that is a string parameter, so the channel is a string, so that it understood. But the channel this time it's number, but that is expecting like a string to be connected with. So there is a difference. Even if it is a number, if I'm playing with parameter integer, okay, I have connected a number only. It's not a decimal value, it is an integer, but still it is not accepting that. It is not accepting that. So vice versa. I mean, if it is expecting like a double, so I'll connect the double only 1 2 3 4 point 5 6 7 8 5 6 7 8 in double, but still it can't. It is saying that the parameter storage step is not a string, the channel that you communicate with. Okay, so we are going to see the real challenges in tomorrow session. Because this is a demo, I can't explain everything in the day one. So understand. Okay, so we'll see more interactive with the parameter names, the storage types, and I think tomorrow. Okay, so anything else I left? No. Let's play with, okay, ChatGPT now. Either I can play with the ChatGPT or else I can play with the Visual Studio Code. Okay, I'll play with the Visual Studio Code then. Where is my, yes, Visual Studio Code. Let's keep that as it is. I'll just use the code snippets. So this is like ChatGPT within a coding platform. ChatGPT within a coding platform. Okay, so it's a paid tool. If you can buy it, you can buy it later. We are trying to create something similar to this. It will take some time, maybe a week to 10 days. In the middle of our training, you're going to get this. Okay, extension. Anyways, so act as a Dynamo tutor. Explain data types concept with some um, parameters of a duct of a element, let's say duct. Okay, it's giving me something. Okay. So it's giving me something. Sure, like here are some of the basic data types in Dynamo. So numbers, these can be integers like a whole number or double the decimal number. For example, 5 is an integer, 5.5 is a double. Strings, these are like sequences of characters. Like for example, hello world is a string. Booleans, these are like logical values, either like a true or false. True or false. And the list, we haven't covered the list yet, so we're going to see that tomorrow. Even list is also data type and null is also data type. We'll see that later. Okay. So dictionaries, again dictionary, but in our current Dynamo, we are not going to play with any dictionaries because they were eliminated. Okay. So we are not using, they stopped playing with our dictionaries. Now all of them are like doubles only. Okay. So what is it? Now let's talk about the parameters of an element. Let's say just insert this. So the length information, the length, the duct length, which is like a 5.5, and it is a double representing the length of a duct. So material, there is a material parameter, and it's saying it's like a scale. So a string representing the material of a duct. See the examples. So you can ask the way the chat GPT to explain this. And if I ask, give me your like 10-15 examples, it'll do that. I'll just copy. I'll play the same question. Explain data types concept with some 15 parameter example of an element that or something that will give you the 15 different material, diameter, insulated, color, manufacturer. For your more understanding, it's gonna give you a detailed intro. Okay, let's say insert control A. Let me insert this. Okay, so the length, material, diameter, it's a 1. So 1, it is an integer. So diameter can be a double as well, because 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, 1.2.5, something. Insulated, yeah, either it is an insulated or not. True. So true is a boolean again. So connections. So duct A, duct B, how many connections it has? If it is having more than one connection, so how do you represent it? So you will be playing, two. So if you're playing with more than one item, we will be consider that as a list. We'll be consider that as a list. Color blue. So to write this, to mention the color blue, so you will be using like a string. You will be using like a string data type. So weight, double. Company X, string. This is a string again, because install date. So install date, it is not a number. It is not a number. It is having some special characters. It's having the date, it's having a month. Generally, this is not even a string also. This is a different data type. I'll show you that later. Okay. So maintenance schedule, again, it is a list. So cost 200, warranty. Does it have a warranty or not? True or false? So warranty period, it's an integer. Okay. So it is having a months, then it will be like a double, 1.6 months. So 1 year, 6 months, 2 year, 3 months. So that can be like a double. Okay. So capacity. So capacity can be a, the double again. So efficiency, like 0.9, it is a double. If it is like it is in a whole number, then it will be considered like double. I mean, if you ask like, I want to get every single thing, I am going to connect you a number of data types. Okay, now let me show you in the chat GPT. Okay, let me show you that in the chat GPT. I'm using like a chat GPT 4. So now act as a BIM manager and Dynamo expert. Dynamo expert, can you get all the parameter names? Can you get all the parameter names? See the way you practice it, the way you are practicing. Okay, it's a different prompt. We generally don't follow these prompts. We have a special prompts in our training. Don't worry. Okay, so act as a BIM manager and Dynamo expert. Can you get all the parameter names of an element duct? I want you to get all the parameter names of an element duct, including uh, including instance and type parameters. Type parameters. Okay. Now, I want you to explain the data types of every single parameter. Every single parameter. Let me hit enter. Since I'm using like ChatGPT 4, it will give you the real-time data. So with the 3.5, I mean, it will, whatever the information it has till the time it will be giving you that, but it won't give you the complete one. Okay. Oh, it's giving you the idea how to get it. So select the duct element. Okay. So using select model element and use the element dot parameters, is it? So use element dot parameters to list all the parameters attached to it. And now exact parameter name to get the exact parameter name. The parameters extracted you can use for the nodes to pull out the names. Oh, is it? Okay, I know how to pull it, but can't you get me the complete list of? So I have to change the prompt now. See the way you ask, it returns the same. So can you list out all the parameter names, all the parameter names of element duct, including the type? Okay, let me remove this. Don't get confused with more instructions in the beginning. Let's go one by one. Parameter names of an element. Let me see. Well, again, it's giving me the same thing. So how do I change that? So this time it has given me one more like parameter name as well. So name, text, length, diameter, width, height. It's giving you insulation thickness, material, system type. See, it's giving you now. Do you understand? So pressure drop, installation date, manufacturer, it is a text again. So the parameter name along with the data type, it is showing you everything. Do you see that? So if I ask more, I mean, if I ask very clearly, like if you have a list of parameter names with you, and if you connect that, it will give you the data types as well. Let me show you how. Let's just go to the Dynamo. I'll go to the Dynamo. I'll go to the Dynamo. What it is said, you have to select this, select model element and element dot parameters. It said connect to the element dot parameters. Okay, connected these elements. Oh, it has given me all the parameter names. Perfect. After that, it told me to use parameter dot name. Did you see that? So it has told you that to connect first select model element, then element dot parameters, and then parameter dot name. So parameter dot name. Parameter dot name. When I connect this to this, so there are strings. Okay, perfect. Let me copy to clipboard. Clipboard, send the clipboard to. I would like to convert this
Slow source.
Can you hear me now? Okay, very clear. Okay, good. So very perfect. I have to fix this. That's I don't know why it suddenly happened. I have to take care of this. It's the first time the mic issue. Okay, so okay, so you should have understand exactly. I mean, it will tell you a lot of stories. Like if I ask something, it will give you. So, but you should accept the information what it is exactly giving you out. Understand? Okay, if you can't understand what it is telling you, so it will give you like 60 lines of something, 50 to 60 lines, and you got stuck at 10th line or 15th line, you can't proceed further. To understand that, you must have a person who explains each and everything if you got stuck somewhere. Understand? Yeah, Bakruddin, you can ask. So we have 10 more minutes. I think let's stop it for here. Okay, I hope you understand the data types concept, with the primitive types. Tomorrow we are playing with application specific data types and primitive with examples. Okay, fine. So stop it for now here. And yeah, Bakruddin, what's your doubt?
Sir, in ChatGPT, before
Hmm.
asking the question, we need to add any prefix like act as a Dynamo expert or act as a Revit expert. This is
Yeah,
the
Bakr.
prefix we
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to add.
Yes, yes. It is mandate actually. So why? Because it have many models in it. Uh, Model in the sense like GPT in the sense it's like a trained model, generative pre-trained model. So it has a number of models. So while you are adding act as a Dynamo expert, you are pulling that. So you are pulling one specific model out. So I mean, for Dynamo expert, there is a different database. For Python experts, there is a different database. For
Okay.
web Python expert, there is a different database. So when you are asking, it's like an act as a Dynamo expert. So that I mean, what if I can, I'll just copy this. I'll just change act as a doctor, act as a doctor. Okay, can you create a very basic script based on the above notes? Patient check-in. What is this? Symptom analysis and diagnostic test. So it's
It's apart.
mixing both. Understand?
It's
Okay.
apart from our
So
field. Yes.
yeah. Okay. So you must
Oh,
ask the right model. Do you understand? So to make it very clear, so if you ask a lawyer, it'll be very danger. Don't ask that. Okay. If you ask a hacker, Kalas, don't do such models. Okay. If you are playing with example, like if you're playing with Dynamo expert, so tell it as act as a Dynamo expert. If you need more detail, act as a Dynamo tutor. If you need more in a fun way to explain a concept, so act as a humorous Dynamo expert in a humorous tone. There are different terms you have to use while you're playing with a ChatGPT. So we are going to cover those. Don't worry, in a training. Clear? So that's very mandate. I have shared a few like prompts with my students before, and they're enjoying it now. Okay, so the way even you will also enjoy it. And if you have seen my feedback, and Bimera, like Bimera reviews, Bimera reviews. Okay, Bimera reviews. So we never compromise. I'll never compromise on, you know, like the training part at all. Okay, I'll always try to happy a person who invested 1 rupee, 10 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 10,000, whoever it is, like in a different way, whether you're a client or a freelancer, like you're a vendor, whoever you are. Okay, when it comes to the training, I'll never compromise in the quality of the training. Never compromise on the quality of the training. Okay, so you will be enjoying thoroughly, and every day, like you have a 2 hours, and you have a 15 minutes in the beginning and 15 minutes in the last for question and answers only, Q&A, so you can clear your doubts. Because if you have something in your mind, you can't sit and focus on the concepts which I teach in that 1.5 hour. Okay, so what you have to do is come and sit with some basic idea. I'm gonna give you that idea every day, and you will see yourself. There is a difference in you in no time. Trust me. Okay, clear? So still, like we are, there are many seats because of this Eid. There are many people have. Everybody are saying like they're gonna join after April 1st, so we can't hold the people for more time, the one who have already registered, and we can't even continue the training with the less people. So that's the reason like we have conducted this webinar. Okay, so we haven't invited few students as well, because I'm going to take the same training again after once the training started. Okay, so anything else? No. So this is for today. The people who haven't registered it, please register. Like we have 4 to 5 seats left. Many sets, like 4 to 5 is not a small number. Okay, so like you have time to think. Take a decision wisely. Okay, if you're wasting your time, I've seen many people who texted me like long back, like 6 months back, 1 year back, and they haven't joined. If they could join that day, I mean, they would have settled in such a position, and they would have started automating their own tasks and save some time. I used to do the same thing. I learn out of my office, and I implemented in my office things. And if I know this task will take like a 4 hours, so my manager come and ask me, Rajesh, I want to do this. So I know it takes like a 4 hours. I used to do the same task with the help of automation in just matter of 10-15 minutes. And the rest of the 3 or 45 minutes, I used to learn something new. I'll go and sit and with my manager and ask me, Mr. Manager, so what is the task if I do this? So if you can brief me, like what do you want me to do? I'll do that. So he could explain me, once you're done with this, then do this. So in these 3.5 hours, I will try to create something, at least like a 50% or 70%. I would automate that stuff, and rest I'll sit and do. I mean, if I'm not able to automate it, I could find another solution. If I could automate only 50%, I'll do that. So this is the way you have to, learn, implement, and utilize your company has. You guys are very lucky. Nobody monitors you from the back. When it was like an office, in my time, there is no work from home. It's always my coordinators, my managers used to keep roaming like that. Understand? It's very hard for me to learn something in an office, but now you are seriously lucky. Understand? Okay. So think twice before you refuse something what you are refusing as well. Okay, so I understand some financial stuff as well. Go with an EMI, go with a credit card payment and convert that into the EMS. It won't be a burden for you anymore. Understand? Okay. So there are many things if you want to learn, you can really learn, put in. And I understand sitting for like 2 hours after the it's tough. But if you sit now, this is going to be a future. Automation is our future. I don't know whether you have seen this already or not, but this is our future. Okay, and you are learning an outdated tool. So if you are learning this outdated tool after 2 years, after 3 years, after 5 years, there will be no opportunities. You have to knock. You have to wait for the door. So by the time somebody has already stepped into it and getting the chances, because the companies always look for the people who are already experienced. Understand? Okay. And when it comes to the development into this, you know, you don't do the same thing. For example, you are acting as a modeler or a coordinator, you work on a project. So once this project over, you work on a second project and you have to do it from the scratch. But and when it comes to the development state, it will not be the same. If you have worked on one project and you have created an automation task, and on the second project, you're not going to create again the same thing. You already have this previous one. So you have to re-execute it. Okay, what if you have changed your company? You no need to create this, even the another company which is expecting the same tasks to be done, and you are not going to create the same thing again from the beginning. You already have a source with you. So you will do the customizations here and there and you submit it. So it's a lot, you have a lot of time. So that time you use it for your learning. The companies, the companies are paying you only for the scripts which you already have in existence. Because even if I interview a person, so I'll ask them one thing in an interview: do you have the scripts with you? I mean, can you implement it? Like how long it will take? Because I'm more smart. So I'll ask them like, can you implement the same thing? Yeah. So to save my time, to save the company time. So simple. Do you understand? Okay. So it's 10:30. So since like we don't, I mean, you are very new to this concept. That's the reason we don't have the questions for today. Okay, clear? So think twice and let me know if you are interested. I'll spot your, I'll receive your and then I'll move further. Clear? Clear, guys? Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? Good? Good, good. So I can tomorrow we don't have a session. Okay, so since it's a Sunday, and sorry, and uh, from Monday the training is going to be started. From Monday it's going to be started. Okay, so it's going to be continued from the second day. It's going to be continued. Um, and what else? Yeah, it's the same time, like 8:30 to 10:30. So first 15 minutes, last 15 minutes, it's a Q&A. If you have more questions to ask, you can text me on WhatsApp. Rajesh, I have more questions to ask. I don't want to disturb, or else I have a shy feel. So can we connect like 15 minutes before? I'll join at 8:15. Clear that, and that sessions are not going to be recorded. I mean, if you feel shy, like why should I record it? So I'll clear your doubts and we'll continue from the 8:30. Okay, clear, guys? So and from the next week, I mean, in our training, generally it's a 5 days a week. Monday to Friday. So Saturday and Sunday will be off. So you don't have any sessions from next week. Don't panic. I don't spoil your weekends. Okay. Saturday and Sundays at all. Okay. Clear? Okay. So see you tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'm see you Monday, 8:30 sharp here. Okay. See you. Good night, everyone. Anyone have any questions before we leave? Anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions? It's my curiosity. Anyone have any questions? No, no. Will you share this recording? I don't think so. We generally don't share this. I don't think so. We don't share this. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, fine. See you. See you. See you on Monday again. Bye bye.